All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome on back. This is the final episode. I just did the count. This episode is the final episode. It's going to be interesting because my kids could get here anytime between now and the half hour after the hour. So we might get cut short, and that's okay. I'm going to put an alarm just to make sure that um, we don't go over because they might also be late too. Whoops. There we go. I was like, wait, it's only 9:30? But anyways, so they'll be coming and we're going to talk up until then and continue to build this thing. Wait, hold on. I thought I just heard something. Yep. And mm, so, oops. I mean, that looks about right. Like this is the first one that pokes out of the water. Oh yeah, that definitely lines up. So we're doing good. Okay, so now anyways, let's get back to talking about the religious stuff. So, yeah, I grew up Christian Methodist. Like, I read the Bible. I learned what Jesus talked about and what Jesus taught, and the people that learned from Jesus, what they turned around and went and taught. And they would preach to each other and preach to other people, and they have faced a lot of hardships for trying to go against Judaism and the law of the land and what they thought God wanted. And really, everybody should see Monty Python's The Life of Brian. So, to get a really good idea of like how silly the Bible really is, and and how silly it is to believe everything from some random person that said some nice things back in the day. It could have been anyone, and that's the whole point in the plot to Life of Brian is it's about this guy named Brian that he just happened to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and he ended up becoming Jesus. And he had a following, and he had like all this stuff, and to escape being executed. Well, actually, I don't want to give too much away, but and there's aliens too. Blah, blah, blah. Like so, it's just so awesome, and like just all the things and it shows the absurdity of religion. And like, yes, religion is meant to be good. It's meant to, don't be mean to people. Be good people. Like that was the whole point of it. And people took it and perverted it and like abused it to make money. And okay, this doesn't look right actually. And where are we at with height? So we're at 94. Also, check this out. All right. It doesn't quite look right. It reminds me of Harold and the Purple Crayon too, because like Harold, I love that story growing up. It was great for imagination. Like you could draw, and everything you drew became real. Going to the top, going to the top. So, anyways, the main takeaways of the Bible are is like we were made in God's image, so the Creator made us to be like Him or her or it. 95. Okay, so this is actually. Mm, it is 95. All right, what we're gonna do. We're gonna do 95 over there, and I'm gonna draw a line of melons over to this one. And if it lines up just right, I didn't pay attention to the thing. In fact, I'll go back and look. I could go back and look at it, or you at home, you could just rewind it like 10 seconds and go see the X and the Y, because that's Z. Z is altitude, usually, in a three-dimensional coordinate system. So I will go up to a 95 height, and that is no more. That is the top, the tippy tippy top. Oh, this is sketchy. we'll see if this structure is sound. 93, 94, 95. Yeah, see already, I don't know. That could be, actually. So here's what we're going to do. If it is 95, and that's how tall this pyramid's supposed to be, then this should line up exactly with the other one. And then I could just run over and chop it all. And actually, even as I say that, we could do a pyramid of pyramids. Like those two tips come here, and then they form the base of another pyramid. That could be. I'm still just not sure why that this isn't showing up. Like, wow. So yeah, it's already. I think we're just now above. It is one stack wide. It looks like to that base. Ooh, it's looking pretty good, actually. I'm a little nervous though. Let's see if it lines up. Oh, oh, yes. It does perfectly. Okay, let's go talk to the Wandering Trader, see what he's got. Yes, welcome to this Melon Mountain. Ah, yeah, I'll take all that. What else you got? Ooh, bees. And of course, I'll take. I've been buying all the wood from them because it is easier than going and harvesting it. Okay. So now that we know that that works, now we can continue to build everything about it. So, anyways, back to religion. So, religion, the life of Brian, Monty Python, like it's important, and that is kind of like. Geez, now I keep hearing things. Most likely, this episode is going to get interrupted, and that's fine. I get excited because I get to see my kiddos. But, and it's Mother's Day, so we're gonna have to figure something out. And I try to do something nice for my co-parent, even though I don't know, we haven't really been the best about that. Like, because it's a weird situation. Okay. Oh, wait. We gotta pop the... There we go. So now... And I still might have to clean that up, actually, but... Yep, and there it is. We just continue to build like that. So, but anyways, it's just interesting to argue and debate with religious people because the Bible ultimately says be nice. Like, that's the main thing. Be kind, treat others as you want to be treated, and try to be peaceful and don't disrespect the Creator. Like, that's it. That's the whole point of all of it. What it's turned out to be, also, there's melons! Ah! um, and it's just been warped. And like in some of the worst people go to church. Hitler tried to make Germany into a Christian nation. Like, and that's how he rose to power. Is he tricked and convinced people that this was the Lord's way, the God's way. Like this is what God wanted. And then people started scratching their heads like, wait, no, this isn't what I learned going to church. Like this is far from it. And so, so there was a lot of confusion and a lot of like protests and all this, but too little, too late. Like once things were already set in motion, sorry, like, you know, you had the Führer out there doing his petty vendettas, and that's what we got now. We got rich people that don't want to be less rich. If anything, they want to be more filthy rich, and that's why, like, if you just kind of watch a bunch of the stuff that Robert Reich does, your blood will start to boil. Like just seeing like how companies and corporations took advantage of the pandemic and just like gouged prices and all that, claiming supply chain recouping and losses and all this, but really they just ended up becoming much more wealthy, and everybody, and it was just turmoil and everything. It was just a big mess. And yeah, and so, and then the people to lead us out of this mess are the ones that benefit from us staying stupid, staying poor, staying humble, staying small. And it's like, no, the meek are inheriting the earth and realizing you don't need to be of a certain family to do literally anything. That whole thing we like to tell kids, like, you can be anything when you want to grow up. Like, that is really true. You can, for the most part, be anything you want to be when you grow up. You just got to really focus and dedicate time and talent to it. But and then if anything, wealthy families breed people that are dependent, almost welfare like, on wealth. Like they have to have it. They don't know how to function without it. Like, because they don't know how to solve poor people problems. And that's what scares these rich families into like doing and abusing these things and tricking people into being like, into hating an immigrant when really it's like, you want to talk about the biggest welfare queens, people that get kickbacks from the government in the millions for one thing or another, and then don't pay their employees well. Elon. I'm just kidding. I need to really look in there to have a say on whether he pays his employees well or not. But he treats them like garbage. I could tell that because like he recruited people for Doge that were willing to work 80-hour weeks. Like, okay, that's horrible. Why? And I see that like people like Elon and Trump, they work so hard because they have that imposter syndrome. Like they're a fence post. Like, that turtle couldn't get up there by himself, like a turtle on the top of a fence post. Someone else put him there. And that's all rich people are, is like their families put them up on this pedestal and they have no real talents or trainings of their own, so to speak, to where they could do something as magnificent as build that company or business by themselves. So they're riding coattails and they got to make sure that they do what they're supposed to do. So, and I get it. That's human nature. Like you want to do a good job, but like nobody works harder than full time and overtime. And that's one thing that I said to this person, like on the X app, is like, as they're saying, oh, President Trump is working, he's working the hardest. Nobody has ever worked this hard for America and all this. Is like, no, even the person at McDonald's and Subway working 40 hours a week, they're working hard. They work a full-time job. That's what's expected of them. They work hard. The real hard people are like people that work in the oil field or, a lot of manufacturing and production jobs. Like when I was building wind turbine blades, that was a hard job because I wasn't just building them. I was also in charge, like on the transport team. So I would like help like um, do crane operations and move these gigantic pieces of wind turbine blades, back and forth through a factory. And I wasn't even one of the big crane operators. Like I just operated for still pretty massive parts, but not nearly as big as like the entire wind turbine blade. So that was a hard job. Like, I would like to see Trump or his kids go and do that for an hour, or a day. Like, no, he went and worked at McDonald's and he basically like played dress up to show that people, and I'm glad that he did at least that. Like, it showed that he at least tried to care. But, try doing that for a week, for a year, and that's the reality for anybody who's ever been caught with weed, caught with drugs, like, and then that's like the catalyst that leads to theft and shortcuts against each other, violence. It's because, oh no, now you're out of money because of this, and the government can come take it. And now we're starting to realize that it's like, wait a minute, all of these people that had their potential cut drastically short just because of a law that should have never existed. The war on drugs is the biggest cause for economic disparities, like inequalities of economics between people, like social groups and classes and all that. We artificially created trouble by demonizing a plant, and literally all drugs. I mean, the only ones that you really need to look out for are meth and opiates, like, and alcohol. Those are the big ones, the really addictive ones. But yet alcohol is enshrined in society, so that's never going away. So now we got to like learn how to just live with it. The elephant in the room. And it's different for rich people. Rich people don't have the same hardships and like thoughts going through their heads and stuff. So when they celebrate something, it's a different celebration. And when they mourn something, it's a different kind of mourning. Like, rich people, at the end of the day, you get to go back home to your nice fancy house, your car, no college debt, no worries, no stressors, like, you know, boo-hoo, cry me a river. And that's where we're getting close to like a purge situation. And it's kind of funny that like, and I'm not saying I support that. Like, definitely not. I'm all peace and pacifist and Jedi. But the thing is like, there's going to be a lot of people that are pretty upset when they realize the golden calf that they've been worshiping, Donald Trump, is no special person. Like, he might know business really well. He knows real estate and he knows how to do real estate deals to maximize profit. That's what he knows. I was talking to my buddy, like, he knows his skill, his trade. We'll just even say it, like his family's owned vacuum shops for a long time. And I believe it. Like nobody knows, there's very few people that know as much about vacuums than he does because that's all he's done for years. And his family's done and his family taught him and I get that for Trump. Like Trump it's real estate, but it's not on how to be fair to your tenants. Quite the opposite. Part of that article that I was reading, so they used to have a little bubble they'd fill in with the letter C on the back of the rental applications that for colored people, non-white people, and so they would discern that, oh, this is a colored family. They may be more of a financial risk. They may be this. They may be that. And of course, it's some of that is a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you treat them like that, and actually, I saw this commercial that I was really confused at first. It had this lady with Down syndrome, and she said, and it showed a few scenes. She's sitting at a bar. She's like, "You don't serve me a margarita because you don't think I can drink a margarita, so you don't serve me a margarita. Your reality becomes my reality." Like, and she's in a house with her parents. Like, "You don't think that I can live on my own, so I don't live alone." Or no, "You don't think I can live alone, so you don't let me live alone, so I don't live alone." It becomes reality, and it's like regardless of whether or not she was actually able to live alone on her own. And there's something to be said for that. And again, that takes me back to why I have zero tolerance for people that drop the R word, is because it's just not okay. Like, there are people out there that would give anything to be normal. And then there's normal people out there that would give anything to be rich. And it's like, yeah, there's some serious dysfunction there. So, societal dysfunction. And so, and I intend to fix it through patience and logic and a hard, what is that? Not a hard hand, but like a swift spanking every now and then. Because yeah, like I said, I have no tolerance for people that call each other retard. Like, I mean, I get it. I used to joke back when I was a teenager and I watched South Park and they had the Timmy episodes. But even that, if you look at the Timmy episodes, the parents of Timmy say they were cursed with a child in a wheelchair because they mocked disabled people when they were kids. And so anybody watching that is like, oh God, that's pretty dark. Like, I wouldn't wish that on anybody. And it's like, well, don't make fun of it, and then you won't. And it was just like South Park is like the New Age gospel. Sorry, I'm thinking about the pandemic special. Oh god, that was so funny. And it's on southparkstudios.com. You can watch it for free. Like, it is great. It is hilarious. Like, Randy is my favorite character. He already was kind of before like one of my favorites, but now especially he's just so dumb and so funny, but so smart and so manipulative and so like oh yeah. Plus he has a weed farm, Integrity Farms. So where's my integrity? So see, I'm a little concerned because even as I'm building this, it looks like I'm just floating out here by myself. Like, so does that mean that things up in the air don't show? Like, I don't get it. Like, how do I make them appear? And already, like, this is starting to get like we had almost a full stack. Let's see if we can get this row. Already, I can tell you this stack is not gonna because we're already almost at half a stack and we've only done one of four sides. So one half is not one fourth, not even close. And so now we're going to be less than half before we even get to less than half of the sides, which would be two sides. In fact, we're almost going to be done with the stack. Look at that. So one stack is not enough for all four sides. And eventually we're going to get to the point, and this increases by 4 every time. See, this one didn't exist before. One, and then that 1, 2, 3, and 4 didn't exist, but then everything else is the same. Like this line is just as long as the other one, except for 2. And so if you look at the two opposite sides, each opposite side has 2 more, but then you don't want to count them twice. So then, yeah. So then each layer has 4 more. Each side has technically 1 more. Yeah. In fact, let's do it. Let's start with a full stack, and we won't even get close. So, anyways, so I'm doing basically like verbal judo, wrestling, kung fu, all verbal with people, strangers from all over the world, making them think, challenging what they know about the Bible, and using Google AI too. Because I mean, if you just know how to ask an AI the right question to get the right result that you want, like, it is, and it's been bending and manipulating, but it's not nefarious per se. At least I don't think it is. I mean, because I honestly think that if there is a creator and if the Bible is even remotely true, the creator created us with a sense of humor and a sense of logic and wanted us to figure things out as times change. And the biggest thing about the Bible not being real is it doesn't talk about a globe. It doesn't talk about a circle floating in space or like a sphere. I think it actually does talk about a circle, but that leads to the flat earther idea that we live on a big disk and it's a circle. And then the church challenged, I think it was either Copernicus, or was it Copernicus or Galileo, whoever decided, or not decided, whoever discovered or even thought or theorized that, hey, I don't think we're the center of our solar system. I think that the sun is, and we're actually changing. And the church was furious. They tried to like burn him at the stake. Like they hated him. They said, "Oh, this is blasphemy. This is heresy," and like all of this. And that's actually where Halo is pretty funny. If you play the Halo games, it gets into religious zealots and stuff like that. This is heresy. And you're just like an outsider looking at these aliens squabbling with each other. You're like so confused. You're like, I don't get it. But it was actually a play on humanity and Christianity, saying like, if it's not part of the church, then it's heresy. And so Islam and all these other people around the world, like that didn't follow Christianity, were automatically like monsters or subhuman, which that's not what the Bible preaches. The Bible preaches that all humans are children of God, and that gets lost on people because it's like, and here's one of the key distinctions. People say that you need to, in order to be saved through Christ, you have to follow and accept Christ as your Savior. And they're talking about Jesus as the person, not Jesus as what he taught. And I think the Bible is meant you got to follow what Jesus taught, not who he was as a person. And why do I think that? Because I've heard that several times from preachers and pastors say, like, it's not Jesus the man, it's what his word is. That was God's word. Jesus was just a human. That was the shell of God trying to teach us through this shell of how to be a good person. And that gets lost on people. There's interpretations of the word. And so people are interpreting it or seeing it, understanding it different than others. Is it right or wrong? Who's to say? Like, until we get like, and honestly, the scary thing is if we're living in a simulation and the creator is just someone in Silicon Valley of the real world making a simulation of us, trying to understand their own humanity. And then you get into Neil deGrasse Tyson's episode on simulations, and where he kind of like starts to have a little freak out. He's like, this is what bothers me. Well, he doesn't really have a freak out, but he's like, this is what drives me nuts. Is like, how do we know? And then he gets the logic down to 2 situations. We're either on the verge of creating simulations to where we can create people that might think the same as this, or we're the last in the line. So either there's never been a simulation created, or we're the last ones and we're on the verge of it. So now we're the last iteration of the simulation creation, like simulation inception, like how it just kind of like accordions and has, or more like fractals too, like because if you look at fractals, what they are is it's like repeating patterns that repeat endlessly as you zoom in, and they never really end. They just continue to, like as you keep zooming in on something, they keep spiraling into the same shapes, and it's like the Fibonacci sequence on crack, like. And even the Fibonacci sequence is seen in nature a lot, where it's a spiral, where it would be a circle. It's trying to be a circle, but it's growing as it's rotating. So then the circle becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. Kind of like we could make one of these into a Fibonacci, almost. Not really. I mean, how would we make a Fibonacci with this? It'd be very hard because everything's a cube and it's very round, but it could be done, I'm sure. I wonder when we'll get, if we'll get anything. Like, how do we... And how do we update maps? That's the other thing I need to know, because all the maps that I created don't have this existing. Like, I might need to have to update this map and then go put it at the places where I built it. I don't even know where all the bases are in this world. Like, oh god, ah! I heard the second clink, and then I knew. Oh, look at that, it looks so cool. But I accidentally broke down what I was going to try to land on. All right. So, anyways, and I've upset a lot of people, like very upset. They're like yelling. I mean, one called me the R word, like, you know, they are like, because you're shaking their belief in what is God, what is like life, what is spirituality. Spirituality, like, I'm challenging it basically. Like, what do you really know, or what do you think you know about religion, about Jesus, about God, about all this stuff? Like, what do you think you know? Because guess what? And then I asked Google, hey, this, and this. And it's like, oh, well, this, and this. In fact, one of them I said, you know, so what is the argument about against homosexuality? And it said something to the tune of, there are a few passages that have been interpreted to say that homosexuality in itself is a sin and is a blasphemy. When, and as I looked at them, I mean, it even kind of seems like it could be um, correlation, not causation. So just like drugs are bad, you know, if a drug will make you, if you use drugs, you will end up in hardship and poverty and jail or dead. And that's true, but not because of the drug, but because of how we treat the drug. We artificially create problems that hurt and kill people and steal from them just because of what? Because, and nowhere in the Bible does it say drugs are bad. It says alcohol is bad, the blood of Christ. It says don't get drunk. It knows very well the dangers of alcohol. Actually, I'm inclined to just leave that. The bridge. But as you can see, we are not even halfway done. And we had quite a few. I want to say like 2 rows of stacks of melons. So we're going to need at least a full inventory, at least, just to get the next like 3 or 4 rows. Because it's every one of them plus 4. So when you get down there, it's like plus an entire stack just to add up the difference. So, wait, and where are we? How are we doing on time? Oh, sweet. We get our 69th episode. Ka-chow! Oh! Maybe I should even go and do some cleaning up before they get here. I do need to respond to a few people. That's the exhausting thing about this sort of thing, is like you're arguing with people, and it could be dangerous too. That's the other thing. And like, and I tell them all I'm from Fort Collins, like, but the nice thing is if anybody tries to stalk me, like, so my online stuff is already monitored because I do have cybersecurity training, and I know how to hack things. I know what not to do and what to look for. And that doesn't mean I could. Oh, look, and even on the map, it's showing. It's starting to show the second one. But anyways, just because I can doesn't mean that I will or that I would ever get away with it. And that's the point, is like I'm on several watch lists. So if anything does happen, like, you know, so, and plus people are already, Like I think they already do that. They probably build up threat matrices of like people stalking each other, people threatening each other on Facebook Messenger or other social media. I mean, because all of those messages are not really private. They're private to you and that person, but Facebook can see everything. And it's funny because originally God was supposed to be the Facebook, like, to keep accountability. Like we were supposed to learn that, well, you can't be mean to people. Like you just can't do that. God will know. Like someone will know. And then the reality of a lot of that is like, oh, there's the ministry of peace. Is, well, open, there's the alarm. Is other people will know. Like you can't keep your secret a secret forever. Like somebody at some point is going to find out. Especially if you do something like kill somebody, they're going to be like, where did this person go? Oh, this person was the last to be seen with them. Boom. And especially now we can trace people very well. No matter how many VPNs or Tor routers or any of the special bells and whistles you try to use, we can still trace all of it. Like it still has to be a digital signal sent from somewhere and received somewhere else. And there are several hops along the way that all you have to do is compare the packets and you can see every network that it went on. And a lot of networks are logging things nowadays. So, oh wait, doesn't this break? Yeah, I think this breaks it eventually. Does it not? It used to. Because I remember I used to like. Oh, wait. These are the ones that bounce. If it was the other one, the magma block, it would break it because then it sucks you down. So, anyways, that's actually the alarm. We kind of got the. Yeah, so I guess I should go ahead and wrap up this one, but that is the point. Also, I got to worry about my kids' safety because if someone's mad at me, they might go after my kids. Like people are unstable, especially when you shake the very foundation of their spiritual beliefs or something, or say something so egregious. But that's the thing is like if God really hated homosexuals, there would be some kind of something happening, and there would be other things, not just Sodom and Gomorrah or um like are those even the two? Let's see. Mm. Oh, I just got texted from him. All right. Anyways, so so actually I do need to wrap this up, but but that's just my theory is like if God was so angry and so able to do things, he or she would come down and be like, and if it offended him so, he would do something about it. But instead, what we've had is 2,000 years of gay. There's been gay in every society, every culture. In fact, the first I learned about this was the Hijras in India. They were men that dressed like women and took on more feminine roles in society, and it was bad luck to say anything about it. They weren't generally accepted and praised, but it was at the same time bad luck to say anything, and so a lot of people just tolerated it or put up with it and just allow it to go on. That sounds eerily similar to you know, how we treated gay people here for the longest time. And then there's bi and in between. So there are like some people where it's more of a choice or a preference, but there are some people that are born that are just naturally attracted to the same sex. Like that's homosexual. And if and the fact that there's so many, it's not a fluke. It's not like a small fringe thing. It's just God doesn't make mistakes like that. So what does that tell you? It's like, is God saying challenge the book that was written by a bunch of people that passed all this down by word of mouth over like how many places are room for error, human error are there? And then the fact that they completely just discount the gospel of Mary Magdalene, that's another thing. Like, um, yeah. So anyways, that's what's going on. In fact, and now I got to switch gears. We're gonna do Mother's Day for both my co-parent and my mom. Both are here in northern Colorado. It's funny because none of us are actually in Fort Collins, but I say I'm in Fort Collins because then people will go to Fort Collins if they're mad and they're trying to find me. They'll start asking around. I'm friends with some cops up in Fort Collins, so if someone were to start asking around about me, they might pick up on it. Good chance, actually. And if they're watching the chatter, they'll be like, "Uh-oh, A-Rye's got a stalker." And that's the fun thing about being a cybersecurity professional is because they gotta keep an eye on you. But guess what? They're keeping an eye on you. So, and granted, nobody should. Again, Jedi. We should all be Jedi about all this stuff. We should fight with logic and reason, not violence and weapons. And the pen is mightier than the sword in the end anyway, because if you strike me down, that's the whole Obi-Wan Kenobi thing. If anybody strikes me down, there's going to be much worse in place. And then and now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to be a martyr for any of this stuff. No, thank you. But if it did happen, then everybody would be like, whoa, what was this guy saying that was so offensive, so this and that? And then the message explodes, and then it's cemented. So, yeah, but hopefully I can kind of get this stuff cemented before then without having to go through that. But I am almost 40. I've had a pretty decent life, according to history. So I'd like to get to 60, 70, maybe even 80. But then any much past that, nah, just kill me at that point. But like, I'm just kidding. I watch. I'll live till like 100 or something now, as long as it's not painful. I mean, I guess just hook me up to a machine like the organ donor thing, the Repo Man movie. That was kind of, you know. And then I don't know. I think at some point, once it costs too much to keep me alive, then I could be like, yeah, you know what? Save yourself some money. I'll see you in the next life if there is a next life. Otherwise, I had a good run, you know, and that's what. And then actually, before we go, bittersweet things like Technoblade. So for those that don't know Technoblade, he's a very big legend in the Minecraft world, and he's a kid that I believe had cancer. I don't know which kind, but like, so he died. He played a bunch of Minecraft, and he had followers, and he had like this thing, and he was pretty famous. But then he told people, he's like, oh well, I have terminal cancer, and people had to deal with that. Like, wait, what? This person that I was friends with and playing with is going to die, and so that was a big thing for people to kind of come to grasp with. In fact, oh, sorry, I'm choking up a little bit. Oh, because it's sad. So, anyways, and he was in the Minecraft movie. God, I'm gonna be crying when my kids get here. Anyways, the point of Technoblade is just the fragility of life and how we need to cherish it, embrace it, and respect it. And it took Minecraft to show some people that. And Technoblade will live on in Minecraft lore. In fact, we'll do that. We'll put Technoblade in the memorial thing. Even though I never played with him, I never really watched a lot of his stuff. I knew about him just being a Minecraft player. Like, it's just kind of part of it. If you watch Minecraft videos, eventually you'll see one where somebody talks about Technoblade, the Redstone, Mumbo Jumbo. There's a few people. In fact, Technoblade's probably just the most famous, unfortunately, because he ended up being a martyr for good morals, values, and ethics. So, I don't know. This game is just so powerful. It's just a bunch of blocks. You're just playing with a bunch of blocks. So, anyways, that's the end of Joker Tower Season 1. We're going to start Joker Tower Season 2. We're starting to get the look of all the cherry blossoms. And I'm going to continue to do that and just fill in the gaps with actual cherry blossom things. My kids are on the way, so they just texted me. So I gotta go. Ta-ta for now. I will see you in Season 2. Happy Minecrafting.